let's start the morning off by spotlighting a local group that's doing good in our community.
Right now in Kentucky, there are thousands of children that are in the family court system, but hope is not lost for them. Joining us now to explain is William Myers with CASA of the River Region, and CASA stands for Court Appointed Special Advocates. Thank you so much for joining us this morning to talk about this really important topic.
Thank you for having me.
First of all, let's start out with the basics because long name, love that it's abbreviated to CASA. You know, people may not be so familiar with what you all do. What is CASA? And talk about the work that you do to help children in need.
Sure. So CASA, as you said, stands for Court Appointed Special Advocates. We've been active in our area since 1984, and we take people from all backgrounds, all walks of life, and we help them to advocate for abused and neglected children. So they get to know the kids, they go to school to visit them, they make sure they're going to the doctor, and then ultimately they write a court report for the judge to help them determine what's best in that child's situation.
So, William, I'm sure the pandemic has had a negative impact on children seeking help, but you never stopped offering your services. Can you talk about the work you've been able to accomplish despite all of these challenges?
Sure. So, the pandemic was really challenging for kids. They weren't going to in-person school, and teachers are our first line of defense to help prevent child abuse. They see kids, they get to know kids, they hear their stories, and we're just so grateful to them. And so, unfortunately, that meant that the number of reports of child abuse did drop because kids weren't being seen, they weren't as visible. And so we tried to do everything we could to work with them in new and innovative ways. We still helped about 514 kids. We had 212 volunteers, and they just visited with the kids at a distance. They did drive-by visits. They tried to bring them educational materials and just find ways to pivot and still help.
And with children back to in-person learning again, back in school, what kind of impact has that had with abused and neglected children that are seeking help?
We anticipate that we'll have a lot more children who are in need of a CASA advocate, children who are entering the family court system, because now they're being seen, they're being heard, and their stories are being told. And so that's so important to have trusting adults in each child's life. And we're trying to make sure that every child has that with a CASA volunteer. And so anything we can do to recruit volunteers, it's 1 to 4 hours a week of a commitment, and it really will make a big impact in each child's life.
And most businesses and organizations have been struggling with maintaining their workforce. And I'd imagine this would include the court system and social services, right?
It has. Unfortunately, social workers work so hard in the Commonwealth, and there are just not enough of them right now. Social workers are in short supply for Kentucky, also court personnel. And so right now we're all struggling to make sure that there are enough eyes and ears for each child. And so we're trying to fill in that gap as best as possible.
You know, people may be watching and thinking, I want to get involved. And I understand you guys have something coming up that is kind of the perfect way to get involved and help you guys fundraise.
It is. So unfortunately, because of COVID, we had to cancel our in-person fundraisers. We had a really fun event, Casablanca, that has been postponed until next October. And so in lieu of that, we're doing a fundraiser where you can bid on trips. So exciting trips all around the world. We're going to reveal them on our social media and on our webpage. And it's a way that you can help us. And when you feel comfortable traveling, you'll have somewhere really exciting to go.
All right, William, thank you so very much. We'll make sure people stay tuned to your social media platforms so they can get some insight on more about that auction.
And to learn more about CASA of the River Region, or if you're interested in volunteering, there's a virtual information session on the first and third Wednesday of the month. Just visit CASARR.org to find out more. And that online auction is going to run October 15th through the 29th. Check out CASA's social media pages over the next 2 weeks to reveal all those big trip destinations.